let us get started. How did you receive the information of the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation getting suspended over mismanagement of over 500 million naira? How did you receive that news? Let me start with Barrister Tolu Babaleye.
Well, I received it with mixed feeling. I believe that was proactive enough on the part of the president. That was very commendable. A departure from where the president pretends as if he doesn't know what is happening in the country. And it's a departure from the deaf and dumb attitude of the former president, with all due respect to him. And this is a confirmation that the current president is hypersensitive to what is happening and is following social media and natural media. So it shows that the reflection, that is the feedback mechanism between the citizen and the government, is robust and is commendable. So, and what the president did was very, very proactive to prevent further decadence in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. And this has put a stop. And it has also, act in a way of putting fear into the mind of other ministers who may have such motive of trying to steal or trying to do something that is not palatable with the budget of Nigeria, which has been, put in their custody. That is my observation, and that is my reaction to what the president has done. It is very commendable and welcome. But with the proviso that Nigerians should know that what has happened is just an allegation. We should not condemn anybody on social media or on television when the person has not been found guilty or found culpable of what happened. What is in the realm of a public glare is just an allegation that some money has been moved, illegally without following the process by the minister. And it is good that the president has suspended the minister for a thorough investigation to be conducted. That is my reaction for now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. And now to Barrister Timothy. With this news, when we look at the public sector, despite the fact that a lot of people are commending the president for the move he took to suspend the minister, some, however, still harbor this fear of what usually takes place in Nigeria, whereby a person is accused of something and after a few months or few weeks, no one is saying anything about it. Do you feel that we might have a recurrence of this? And if you feel that this is what could happen, what advice would you give so that anyone who is accused and who is found guilty dances to the tune of the crime they've committed?
Thank you very much for that question. And without prejudice to the presumption of innocence in favor of the minister who has been suspended, she remains innocent until proven guilty, and only an investigation and the proper prosecution will help appreciate the gravity of the allegation against her. And it goes with that I agree with my learned senior at the other end on his position that it is a proactive action by the federal government in suspending her. And that will really pave way for a thorough investigation, an unbiased investigation into the allegation leveled against her. And if the allegations are true, then she will have a field day in court. And I think that action of the president alone sends signals to other ministers and members of his cabinet that it's not business as usual. It's not a situation where someone gets he or herself, implicated in any act of illegality or corruption, and such a person is shielded away by the government. Once you are found, liable of any criminal allegation or corruption, the president is directly telling his ministers or his team that there is no sacred cow that would be spared. So we think it's a step in the right direction, more so that Foreign ministry is a very important ministry that, to my mind, has a very important role in selling this document to the Nigerian people. Very important ministry has a very important role to play in the lives of the average Nigerian. Because if you look at the core mandate of the ministry, reaching to the less privileged of society, the downtrodden of the society. So a situation where human sons are alleged to have been diverted to private accounts on allegations, for me, is worrisome. And it is time for us to quickly address some of these issues. We strongly believe that the federal government, with the move taken by the president, other ministries too should be on the watch out, because the truth is that it is in our nature to exhibit some act of criminality. It is only the existence of efficient institutions of government that are always there to checkmate our excesses, that put in check some of these excesses that are very common with Nigerians and our political elite. So it shouldn't stop at the ministry. Let's begin to quickly be proactive in looking at the other ministries, other parastatals of government, to see that people are not stealing from the government. Because at this time, following the removal of subsidy, one should be thinking about reducing cost of governance. One should be thinking about prioritizing government projects that have direct bearings of the average Nigerians, as opposed to people siphoning government funds, as opposed to people stealing from government unabated. So we must commend the federal government on this issue, and we must advise that if she is found guilty of the allegation, she should be tried, and then the right thing be done by the court. And then, with all honesty, one would have expected, but at this very point in time, notwithstanding the fact that there are mere allegations, it is on the part of honor for the minister to resign, to pave way for an unbiased investigation into her reign within the last 6 or 7 months as a minister. So that's my take on that issue.
All right, you mentioned cutting cost of governance. Does this mean that you also approve of the step the president took, that was on Tuesday, on slashing number of entourage?
Yes, I welcome that, but I really wish to see that the president look just beyond this pronouncement, because we want to see a drastic, cost in the cost of governance. You recall that this very administration has the highest number of ministers, and then in the history of Nigeria. And for me, it doesn't really portend well, for a country that is going through a lot, a country that is battling with the removal of subsidy. This litany of ministers we have, for me, it is not really an indication that the government is sincerely committed to cutting costs, because reducing costs. If you are reducing costs in terms of traveling trips and all that, how much more are the ministries taking home? The cost of maintaining our ministers. Each of them needs special advisors and personal assistants to run their ministries and all that. And some of these ministries, we need permanent secretaries and all that. So beyond just the speech that yes, we are going to cut costs in terms of our traveling, personnel and all that, we really want to see government be more proactive in terms of even appointments, so that we don't have a very large budget to maintain. I was carefully going through the 24 budget, and I was worried with some of the allocations that were made. At this time where Nigerians are battling with the effect of subsidy removal, at this point in time where unemployment is on the increase, we saw more of allocation to National Assembly Library. For me, it's not a priority project at the moment. The government should be more proactive or more preoccupied with projects that will have direct bearings on the lives of Nigerians, as opposed to funding budgets that, to my mind, will have little or no impact on the generality of the Nigerian population.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now to Barrister Tolu. If you ask anyone, if you ask them what seems to be the problem of Nigeria, a lot of people will point to corruption as the major problem that is affecting the country. And now if we are to come down to the particular ministry that is being affected, Even up to now, there is still a case of 81.6 billion naira that was allegedly looted in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. So what seems to be the problem? Is it that the right people are not doing the work, or is it that everyone is just taking their eyes away for their own personal gains?
Well, thank you for the question. What I feel is the problem is stemmed from the last government, where the president was very lackadaisical when it comes to fighting corruption. Where the president neglected so many things and refused to take action like the one we have taken by the President Tinubu now. If you know the history or the story of this Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, in one day told us that he was feeding students primary 1 to 3 during COVID, when all the children are with their parents. They spent so much money in that ministry, nothing happened. You recall that there was a time during COVID when the former minister claimed to have shared 5 billion cash in one day. Nothing happened. That thing came also from the ministry. And because of the fact that the former president did not do anything, you recall what happened at the aviation sector, Ministry of Aviation, where the former minister, I've forgotten the name now, spent billions in painting ordinary plane for Nigerians, claiming that he has launched Nigeria Air. So many things happen. So many things happen at the last regime. But the problem we have is that instead of building institutions in Nigeria, we are building men. What we are supposed to do is to focus on building the institution, to make the institution to be able to fight the system itself. The system should be able to fight corruption, not waiting for men to get to nip the corruption in the bud. You can in a place like United States, when the former president was trying to usurp the sovereignty of the United States, his vice president said, no, I will not be part of this. The Speaker of the House in United States said, no, I will not be part of this. You know what happened at the Capitol? That is what we call building of institution as against building of men. In Nigeria, we have powerful men. We do not have powerful institution. So the problem is with our institution, not with men. The best of brains are in Nigeria. If you go to the world over, you will see that Nigerians are making it everywhere. In fact, they are excelling. Excuse me, please. They are excelling everywhere in the world. But what we are supposed to do in our country is to build the institution, make them corruption-free, build the system, make it impossible for a minister, for example, to transfer money, or any official of the government to transfer money without just easily like that, of transferring it, like 40-something billion into just a private account. We should make it impossible. A system should be developed to make such a situation impossible. So it is not that we lack men in Nigeria. What we lack is a functioning institution. So that's my take on that for now.
But would you say that perhaps the cause of this is lack of patriotism on parts of these powerful Nigerians, how we have put it? Because it's one thing to be powerful, and then it's another thing for people to benefit from the power that one person is holding. If, let's say for instance, if they were patriotic to the nation, do you feel like perhaps it's going to be another matter entirely that would have a turn and things would not be as bad as it is obtainable now?
Well, I partially agree with you, but I do not think that is entirely correct. It is not about patriotism. It's just because of the way we find ourselves in Nigeria. Nigeria is a class society. If you get to Europe, a place like Amsterdam, you cannot see a government official living a flamboyant life. You see the Prime Minister of Holland going on bicycle. You see the chief judge of Holland going on bicycle. You don't see retinue of aids. There are no siren blasting vehicles in front or at the back of a minister in some in European countries. But it's only in Nigeria that when you get a ministerial position, you would think that you have to behave in an abnormal way. Go with a convoy, make people not to be accessible to you. And because of the way in which we find ourselves, because of the way our predecessors have done, people have impression that when you get to such an office, if you do not help yourself, if you leave the place, people will continue to chastise you and talk to you in an abusive manner, that you went there, you didn't achieve anything. The society is part of our problem. The churches we attend is part of our problem. When you get a position in Nigeria, the church will expect you to come and be blessing them, to go to bring money. The mosque is the same thing. So the society where you live is the same thing. Your community is the same thing. Everybody will be putting their problem on the person who has a political appointee. Who has a political appointment, as if the political appointment is to garner money or to steal money. So these things are the things that are aiding investment in a public life. So we should talk to ourselves and so do what I call self-searching and reorientation in Nigeria, so that we can get it right. Nigeria is so blessed with resources, but unfortunately, we lack the leadership. And we have been trying our best to get the best of leadership. I believe that with this present situation of our country, with President Tinubu that is in Sadu, who has done something differently for the first time in many years, we believe that better days are ahead. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. And now to Barrister Timothy, what are your thoughts on the subject at hand? Is it patriotism that is a problem, or greed, or this is just Nigerian leaders being victims of the society?
I think lack of patriotism can be attributed sufficiently for some of these corrupt acts we commonly see in our public space. And in fact, that culture of impunity seems to be eating deep into the Nigerian fabric, of our society, where you have a situation just like the speaker of the other side, submitted. The problem is not just that of leadership alone. You equally have the problem of that of followership, because you have situations where people are more interested in getting peanuts from politicians, where the churches and the mosques or the religious leaders are more in tune or fascinated by those who make huge donations without them accounting for how they came about such funds they donate to the church or the mosques as their own contribution to the development of the society. We have situations where people are rewarded with chieftaincy, titles for stealing from government. And then there are situations where those who steal a lot from government have a lot of resources at their disposal to contest for election. And such persons can afford to spread such funds around to win votes. Vote buying, for instance, has been, much deep-rooted in our electoral system today. A situation where voters are shortchanged or credible people are neglected by political parties, and then only those who can afford to spread money around are given party nomination is unhealthy for our system. So we must tell ourselves the truth. It is the country we want for ourselves and the generation unborn. It is time for us to begin to improve on our institutions. Our institutions in Nigeria today behave like the average Nigerian you see on the street. So, beyond the problem of leadership, beyond the problem of, uninformed followers, people today are really committed to the Nigerian project. What is the Nigerian vision if we ask ourselves? What is the goal for an average Nigerian? Are we really committed to reviving and then improving and developing our country? So we must eschew that patriotism that is required for us to reform this country. It is our collective responsibility. It is not just for Tinubu. It is not just for the governor of the state. It's not just for the chairman of your local government. What are you doing at the family level? We have long lost our core values. The main value, the fabric that holds our society together. We have neglected our family responsibilities. You see situations where these core values are long been eluding us. A situation where discipline has been neglected. I recall growing up where you have situations where a neighbor could discipline you for misbehaving and then report you to your father or your mother, and then you intend to have another round of discipline or sanctions from the family level. But today, what is happening today? We have forgotten about the family value, the core values that should be impacted on the children. So when you see some of this behavior emanating from grown-ups or from adults or from children, be rest assured that we have long neglected the family as that very important unit of the society that holds our society together. So on a whole, we must, as Nigerians, in fact, I must make this point. First of all, we are looking at in the direction of what can our country do for us, instead of looking in the direction of what can we do for our country. How many of us are willing to sacrifice for Nigeria? How many of us are willing to show that dedication and commitment to the betterment of our society in Nigeria? Majority of us are more of thinking about ourselves as opposed to what is beneficial to the country. So until we begin to own this country, until we begin to have that sense of belonging as a people, until we begin to move away from ethnicity and religion, Nigeria will be very far from realizing or maximizing its potentials, because we are so gifted. There is nothing that we lack in this country. Any area of specialization, any area of, any field of human endeavor, there are Nigerians who are eminently qualified, who are competent to drive that sector. But are we really willing and prepared to give them that chance? This partisan approach towards everything is not really helping us. So it doesn't really matter whether the person is qualified or not. Once you are politically aligned with the power that be, you are found worthy to be appointed. So we must return back to merit. Things should be done on the basis of merit, irrespective of where one comes from, irrespective of the religion one practices, irrespective of one tribe, until we begin to embrace some of these core things that hold our society together. We'll still continue to complain about some of these issues repeatedly. It is becoming more of a song today. And I think it is not healthy for our society. It is time for us to really sit on a round table, have a national conversation, and then begin to chart the way forward. What are the core problems that are affecting us as a people? Do I see a Yoruba person as a problem? Do I see an Igbo man as a problem? Why shouldn't an Igbo man rule this country? Why shouldn't this person rule this country if the person is qualified and competent? So all this conversation, we must be very sincere with ourselves. A situation where a particular group, a particular ethnicity is treated as second-class citizens in this country, it is not healthy. So if we must help rescue this country, we must be very sincere with ourselves in our conversation. We must throw away all sentiments in discussing the way forward for this country. Nigeria is a blessed country. It is our country, the only country we have. We have no other place to go to. It is time for us to sit down, begin to discuss sincerely, and then see how we can identify those prudent, those sincere, those incorruptible Nigerians, to elect them in public places, so that at the end of it, they will be proud to give them the needed support. They will drive the needed vision, that needed objective, and will organize all Nigerians from all walks of life with the aim of developing this country.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now to Barrister Tolu. Just few hours ago, EFCC revived case of 13 ex-governors over 772 billion naira fraud cases, and of these, $2.2 billion was alleged to have gone missing through money laundering. This is according to the EFCC. And then they said that the money was meant for arms procurement in support of war against terrorists, but it was laundered, diverted, and misappropriated. Now, one of the former governors that are in this position, we have the former governor Bello Matawali, and this is also the current Minister of Defense. Do you feel like this in a way might discourage Nigerians, because someone who was accused of laundering money that was meant for procurement of arms to fight terrorism which is one of the major problems we are having in Nigeria. And then this person too is still the one in charge of defense in the country. How do you feel Nigerians might react to this? Okay, we do not have your audio. Could you please turn on your audio over there? We can't have your audio.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Please go on. Yes, I can hear you. Please go on.
Yeah. Barrister Timothy, my colleague who is speaking from Benue State, has made a very good point that Nigeria appointment is usually based not on merit but on party patronage. If not for party patronage, with all due respect, the former governor of Safran State, former governor Matawali, is not supposed to be the Minister of Defense. Apart from the fact that he's alleged of corruption and his case is pending before EFCC, we are aware of what the bandits have done in Zamfara State under when he was governor. How, according to information, he was alleged to be hobnobbing and patronizing bandits with all due respect. And now that he's the Minister of Defense, how do you want somebody who has connection with the bandits to be a defense minister and fight the same bandits? That is the problem we have in this country. It's not that we do not have men who are doing who are capable of being appointed into these various positions. But the problem we have is that the moment you are not part of the political system, you are not a member of APC, or you are not an opposition member who is inclined to what they are doing in APC, they will not find you appointable. That is the problem we have in Nigeria. Our appointment should be based on merit, not where you came from, not because you participated in their politics. Anyway, there should be a reward system for whoever participated, but whoever has a question to answer has no business in being appointed into a government. For example, when somebody was a former governor and is now made a minister, and you are now saying EFCC should probe him, you are now saying EFCC should probe him, how do you expect a result from EFCC? It is not possible for you to get any result from EFCC because the person you want to probe is hobnobbing with people who want to probe him. You should not do something the same way and expect different result. That is where the issue is. So that EFCC is reopening cases of 13 former governors is commendable and it is welcome. But we are waiting for EFCC to prove us wrong, that they are just playing politics, making such a statement. We want to see the results of that probe. During the era of President Buhari, Ekiti State alleged the former governor, Governor Fayemi, of embezzling of some funds. He was appointed a minister. That case died a natural death. He later became a governor, and he left the position of governor. That one is already gone now. Another governor has taken over. Nothing is said about it again. The current minister of FCT, former Governor Wike, there was a time the current governor of Rivers State now was being pursued by EFCC to be arrested and to be questioned with respect to some financial issues in Rivers State. He was, from what we heard, he was hidden by Governor Wike in the government house. But thereafter, the man became a governor and he now has immunity covered by Section 308 of the Constitution. Now what becomes of all those allegations? Nigeria is a system, the way we practice, and the system we practice It's making fighting corruption to be very difficult as far as this country is concerned. Until we change our attitude, it's as if we are not going to achieve much in terms of fighting corruption. It is good to say that we are reopening the 13 cases of the former governors. What will be the result? We are waiting. We are waiting for EFCC to prove us wrong, that it will not go the same way such probe have gone in the past. Thank you.